It was a general discussion on how the overseas territories and the Crown dependencies can work together to promote the environmental agenda in all our different territories. Clearly, Brexit is a concern to all of us present. Different territories will be affected in different ways, and some will be affected perhaps even more strongly than Gibraltar. For example, some of the small islands at Pitcairn and Tristan da Cunha, which are threatened by climate change and so on, and need funding which perhaps would have been available from the EU. So we wanted to get a strategy together to identify direct point of contact with Her Majesty's government in the United Kingdom, to share experiences, and to ensure that in future the overseas territories and Crown dependencies would have access to funding which will be lost by leaving the European Union, and that should be replaced in some way.
Dr. Cortes, I'm not 100% sure of the figures, but I believe it's something like 90% of the UK's biodiversity is found within the overseas territories and Crown dependencies. So how big a role does Gibraltar play?
Gibraltar plays a significant role there. Remember that a lot of the species found here, particularly the large number of migratory species, the marine life that we have around our shores, are species that are not found in the UK British Isles. Obviously, some of the tropical dependent territories have a lot more biodiversity even than we have, but collectively we have more biodiversity than the British Isles themselves. So the United Kingdom, being politically responsible for all these territories, has to shoulder some responsibility in ensuring that particularly the more far-flung and oft-forgotten territories are well looked after.
If I can veer just slightly off the subject, and legislation that's been introduced for the near complete protection of sharks, rays and skates. You said at a press conference that Gibraltar is one of the first countries to introduce this, and that this sends a strong message. What exactly is this message?
Well, absolutely. Obviously, there's a clear conservation message, and I'm particularly grateful to the Fishing Working Group who have worked together with us in developing this. The fishing fraternity in Gibraltar is showing an increasingly important and responsible role in protecting our marine life in order to ensure that fishing is sustainable in the future. I think it sends another message too, particularly now when we're looking at leaving the European Union and what that will do to the status of our protected areas in British Gibraltar territorial waters. It shows that we are absolutely perfectly capable of leading in the Mediterranean as in relation to managing our seas and protecting our waters in whatever way. In this case, from the wildlife conservation point of view, we can take our place in the international community, and that leaving the EU does not weaken that in any way. So I think that's an important political message as well as an environmental message.